Reservoir Dogs is a masterclass of everything that makes Tarantino films a spectacle, with immense acting performances from the likes of Roth, Keitel, and Penn, and a story that never drags regardless of the several flashbacks that makes you wonder, after setting the bar so high, so soon, how could Quentin Tarantino possibly top this?
Welcome to the Cinema Gold Podcast with your host, Larry Leese. Come join us as Cinema Gold dives into the latest Hollywood films and news.
Welcome to the Cinema Gold Show. I'm your host, Larry Leese. Today we're continuing our series, Classic Rewind, with our review for the film Reservoir Dogs by Quentin Tarantino. If you like what you hear and want more content, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on all major podcast platforms. In Tarantino's first feature film, Reservoir Dogs tells the story of a failed diamond heist and the consequences of it. As far as directorial debuts go, if you can find any better than Reservoir Dogs, you're probably talking about the elite of the elite, because this is something special. The acting, the music, the cinematography, it's all staggeringly good for a director's baptism into Hollywood. What's even better? That this is pure Tarantino, and all those signature traits of his that he'd perfect even more over the next 2 decades are incorporated. Title cards, flashbacks, songs that are just right for the moment. So how does a director of Quentin Tarantino's stature start his first film? How does he set the tone for a heist? You're correct, he does indeed open with himself, casted as Mr. Brown, discussing what Madonna's Like a Virgin is about. It's a character moment so raw and real, and it does make us realize how ridiculous it would be if a group of criminals, moments before a robbery, were nervous, uptight, and discussing their plan in broad daylight. Tarantino connects us to these characters instantly by interpolating views of pop culture and daily life, emphasizing this a few moments later when Mr. Pink, played by Steve Buscemi, makes it known what he believes about the logistics of tipping. A minute later, these 8 characters look larger than life in one of the coolest intros in cinema history, thanks to the use of slow motion and the George Baker selection, The Little Green Bag. It wouldn't be the last great song choice of Tarantino's directorial career, and little did anyone know that it wouldn't be the best song choice of his entire film. After building great excitement for the robbery with that intro sequence, obviously Tarantino cuts to the immediate aftermath. As while many directors in their films build throughout to the heist in the grand finale, we're told straight away that this director isn't like any other. The in media res narrative grips our attention in a way a slow build may not, and sets Reservoir Dogs apart from the rest. Mind you, it really helps that the first thing we see is a bloody Mr. Orange, played by Tim Roth, screaming in agony after being shot in the gut. Roth's acting is harrowing, and he really sells his peril to us, whereas Keitel as Mr. White, in his attempts to calm him, is perfect blend of experienced and fatherly. It's this relationship between Mr. White and Mr. Orange that sets the wheels in motion for the rest of the film to play out as it does. And it's interesting to see how White's relationship with every other character contrasts the one he has with Orange. After caring for this bloody dying novice, we see Keitel and a panicking Buscemi care less about one another before that boils over into sheer contempt over the collapse of their heist. The contempt these two share, however, pales in comparison to how Mr. White feels about Mr. Blonde, played by Michael Madsen, who is a lunatic in every sense of the word. You all know what the height of Blonde's psychotic tendencies is. Even if you've never seen Reservoir Dogs in all its glory, you're familiar with that scene. The use of stealer wheels, Stuck in the Middle with You, is the best use of music in the film and one of the greatest in the history of cinema. It's as controversially brutal as you'd expect, and as you remember, it's absolutely hilarious too. It's not just Madsen dancing. The moment the music begins and he starts moving, he's guaranteed to marveling at the brilliance of what's happening. It's when he leaves the warehouse and returns with a petrol canister with the intention to set a helpless policeman he's just deformed on fire, and it leads right into the moment that turns the film on its head, turning that comedy into stunning silence. Reservoir Dogs is a masterclass of everything that makes Tarantino films a spectacle, with immense acting performances from the likes of Roth, Keitel, and Penn, and a story that never drags regardless of the several flashbacks. It makes you wonder, after setting the bar so high, so soon, how could Quentin Tarantino possibly top this? Let us know what you thought about this film. Leave a comment in the comment section, or send us a tweet at Cinema Gold Show. And please like and subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Thank you for listening to the Cinema Gold Show, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching Cinema Gold Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at CinemaGold2. Become a patron on our Patreon at patreon.com/cinemagold. Send us a voice message and be featured on an upcoming episode through anchor.fm/cinemagold.